بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A few months ago, with the whole country going into lockdown, we here at Green Lane Masjid had to make an extremely difficult decision. An extremely difficult decision following the lockdown that the country had gone into. For the safety of our congregation members and for the safety of our masjid. For the first time in 40 years, we here at Green Lane Masjid had to close the doors to the masjid for the safety of everybody involved. Alhamdulillah, fast forward to today, inshallah we are on track to open on the 4th of July. With this in mind, over the past few days and weeks, we've been working very hard in setting up a health and safety policy to ensure the safety of you as a congregation member and the safety of the masjid. It's extremely important that we all follow the guidelines and the guidance set by the masjid, which ultimately falls in line with the guidance set by the government. It's extremely important that we listen to the staff and volunteers once the masjid reopens. The guidelines are available on all our social media pages, and inshallah I am just going to go through the guidelines now just to ensure that everybody is on board with these guidelines and everybody understands these guidelines. The masjid will open 15 minutes before the salah time. So before Salatul Jama'ah, before the congregation time. So if the time for Salatul Jama'ah is 1:45 p.m., the masjid will open at 1:30, 15 minutes before the stated time. Entry to the masjid will be on a first come, first served basis. With the recent government guidelines, we need to ensure that we keep a temporary record of everybody who attends the masjid, as per the government's track and trace guidelines. This will just simply mean that you have to register online on the Green Lane Masjid's website as a one-off registration where you will receive a unique reference number. Every time you attend the masjid, you just have to show this number to a steward or the volunteer who is at the door. It's extremely important to follow the guidelines and the guidance given to you by the staff and volunteers who are here at the masjid. They will be here every single day for your safety. Please bring your own prayer mat with you. Entry into the masjid will not be allowed except for those people who bring a prayer mat with them. And again, this is very simple. Why? Because it helps prevent the spread of bacteria. We will also be implementing a one-way passage in the masjid, a one-way system through the masjid. And again, this is just to ensure a smooth entry and exit into and out of the masjid. As per the guidelines given by the government, we will be socially distancing initially by 1.5 meters and then gradually decreasing this. We know as Muslims, the Prophet ﷺ, when he would lead the companions in prayer, he would emphasize and he would tell them to straighten the rows and to close the gaps. But in this situation that we're in, with the social distancing rules in place, we need to ensure that we follow these guidelines given by the government. A key principle in Islam, one of the goals and objectives of Islam is to preserve life. It's also to be noted that following these guidelines does not mean in any way that your salah or the reward that you receive from your salah will be diminished in any way. Praying according to these guidelines will have no effect or no bearing on your salah being accepted or not. There will be no mushafs, no literature in the masjid. If you do want to read the Quran, then you can do so via your phones, via the various apps that are available on your phones. If you are feeling unwell, please do not come to the masjid. Praying salah in congregation in the masjid is not obligatory upon you. It's extremely important that you stay at home and that you protect those people around you. Likewise for the elderly, for those children under 12, the same goes for them. Please stay at home. We would love to open the masjid for everybody, but in this situation, in these circumstances that we are facing, it seems extremely important that we protect those people around us. We protect the congregation members and we protect the masjid. When it comes to performing wudu, the masjid ablution facilities will all be closed. So only come to the masjid in a state of purification, in a state of wudu. And again, the Prophet ﷺ, he said that whoever performs wudu at home and comes to the masjid, every step he takes, one step will remove a sin and the other step will give him a hasana, a reward. So let's use this opportunity to revive the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Please do not shake hands. Please do not embrace one another. Although you might not have seen somebody for months, it's extremely important that we abide by all the social distancing rules. Any sunnah prayers, any nawafil prayers must be prayed at home. The masjid is only open for a certain period of time for the 5 obligatory prayers. And again, this is a sunnah that we could implement and that we could bring into practice in these times. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned in a number of ahadith about the virtues of praying at home, praying those sunnah prayers, praying the sunan and the nawafil prayers at home. When entering the masjid, you must be covering your face. You must have a face mask. Again, you will not be allowed entry into the masjid except if you are covering your face with a face mask. Generally, covering your face whilst you're praying is something which is disliked, something which is makruh. But again, we're in unprecedented times where the preservation of life takes matter over everything. And there is a principle that the scholars use, which is al-hajatu tusqitul makruhat. And that is when you are in a time of need, that you can do things, or those things which are makruh can be dropped. So again, this is something extremely important that we need to do when we enter the masjid. This is a phased opening. Inshallah, over the next few weeks and months, we will plan to open the whole of the masjid as long as it is safe to do. At the moment, the main area that will be open is the brothers' prayer space. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make the process of opening our masajid a process which is straightforward and a process which is very smooth. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make this return of normality something which is easy for everybody.